Welcome everyone. Today I will show how video streaming happens using RTSP and RTP protocol. So basically full form of RTSP is real-time streaming protocol and full form of RTP is real-time transport protocol. So RTSP is application layer protocol and RTP is transport layer protocol. So RTSP is like a TV remote like control thing that we'll see in upcoming slides, and actual data transfer happens using RTP protocol. So these four are major RTP methods that are used. First is setup method. In setup method, server allocates resources for a stream and starts an RTSP session. In play method, server starts data transmission on stream, and if like we are streaming an video, then video will start playing. In pause method, video will be paused for a moment, like temporarily halts a stream. And in teardown method, server will free resources of the stream and no RTSP session on server anymore will be entertained. Here you can see the flow how RTSP and RTP works. Like first of all, traditional HTTP request will be sent from client to server, and after that client will send setup request using RTSP protocol. So in that request, server will reply to client that I have received setup request and I have processed that RTSP setup request. After that, client will send play request. So server also reply to that play request to client, and after that, server will start sending data of stream using RTP protocol to the client. And if client sends pause request to the server, then sending data from server to client using RTP protocol will be temporarily paused. And if client sends close request, then we have seen earlier like that resources are freed on the stream and no RTSP sessions on server anymore are entertained. Now we will see implementation of RTSP and RTP using Python. There are going to be two different parts. First is server side and second is client side. First of all, we will see server side code and after that client side code. In server side code, we will give port number as a system argument on which port our server is running, and after that we will make a RTSP socket and we will bind that socket to server port, and this shows that maximum 5 client can connect to the RTSP socket, and after that we will start accepting client connection request. Here you can see we are accepting request, and if client connects to the server, then we will store that client's info in this dictionary, and after that we will run server. We will start running the server. In server worker class, we are setting up these variables which are used later. Basically, these are four RTSP methods. We are just using as setting variables to use it, and these are main three states, and these states represent our current state, in which state we are right now. Mm, we will store client info in this dictionary. After that, for each client we will make a thread and in that thread for that particular client RTSP request are received. So in receive RTSP request, we are just receiving data from client socket and we are calling process RTSP request which will process the RTSP request. So here we are extracting the sequence number and request type. I will show this. Okay. Here you can see that we have received request from client and request type is setup request. Here you can see this and sequence number is 1. We are just extracting that request type and sequence number using this split method and array indexing. After that we will see that request type is setup or play request or pause request or tear down request. According to that request we will process further. Like in setup request and client is currently in init state, then we will change state to ready state. I will show you this states diagram. This first of all client will be in init state and if it sends setup request, then it will be in in ready state, and if it sends play request, then after that it will be in playing state and go on. You can see these different state transitions. After that server will respond to that setup request. Here you can see server is responding to that setup request, and if request type is play request and client is in ready state, then state will be changed to playing state. So now server will create a socket for RTP protocol to send data from server to client. Socket name is RTP socket and which will use UDP protocol, like user diagram protocol for video streaming, and server will respond to that play request that I have received, that RTSP play request. And after that we have created a socket and we will create a thread for that particular client to send RTP, to send data using RTP protocol, and we will start that thread here. If request type is pause request, then we will here stop running that thread and respond to the client that I have processed pause RTSP request. If request type is tear down request, then also we will stop the thread and we will also close the socket. RTP socket will close and we will respond to client that I have processed RTSP tear down request. Now we will show the send RTP function, which will basically send the data from server to client using RTP protocol. First of all, you will get data using video stream class, which we have shown earlier. We will get frame number and data, and we will send that data to client. For that, we are using this make RTP function. Okay. In make RTP function, we are just creating a RTP header, RTP packet, which consists of RTP headers plus our data, means payload. Here this function will return that packet, and this packet will send to client which is running on this address we have extracted using RTSP socket information, which is given from client to server. And this is reply RTSP custom function which we have made for different errors and custom function thing. In make RTP function, we have seen that we are making a RTP packet and returning that RTP packet. For making RTP packet, we are using this RTP packet class. Here it is. In RTP packet class, there are different functions like encode, decode, version, sequence number, and so on. In encode function, what we are doing is we are setting different header bits. Like our header is of size 12 bytes. That we are here we are making that 12 byte array header array, and we are setting that bits here. And decode function will decode that byte array and return that decoded data, and sequence number will return that currently which sequence is server sending to client, and get payload will return the our actual data that we are sending from server to client, and get packet will return whole packet which consists of header plus payload. So in send RTP function, we are here checking that our thread is our our thread is in stop mode or not, or if our thread in stop mode, then we will not send any data to the client using RTP socket. Okay, so this is all server side code. Now I will see you client side code. In client side code, okay, we are accepting four system argument. First is server address on which our server is running, and second one is server port, which is basically RTSP socket port. And additionally, we are also getting RTP port on which our RTP server is running, and we are getting file name, like which file we want to stream or we want to get from server. After that, we will make a GUI using this Kinter library, which is basically Python library used for fast GUI rendering. And after that, we are here creating a client class and running that client class basically. So in client class, we are setting up essential variables here and different state which I have shown earlier, and this state represent in which currently in which state we are right now, and these four are basically our main RTSP methods. And this RTSP version and transport protocol which is we are using here is RTP. After that we'll set different variables here, server address, server port, which we are getting as a parameter from client launcher file. Current initially we will set session ID as 0 and RTSP sequence as 0, and after that we will run connect to server function. Okay, in connect to server function, basically we will create first RTSP socket at client side, and we will connect using server address and server port to server side RTSP socket. We are also running create widgets function which will basically build a GUI. I will show you the GUI right now, like this. And we can click here different buttons: setup button, play button, pause button, and tear down buttons. Basically when we click this button, we will run different functions like setup movie, exit client, pause movie, play movie function. So if we press a setup button, then what will happen that we will basically send the RTSP request from client side to server side using send RTSP request function. In send RTSP request, we will first check that which type of request we want to send. If request type is setup, when we are client is currently in init state, then we will increase the RTSP sequence number by 1, and we will start running a different thread. We will create a thread to receive RTSP requests from server to client, and we will keep track of the last request which clients have sent to the server in this request sent variable. If request type is play request and client is in ready state, then we will increase RTSP sequence number by 1, and we will keep track of last sent request as play. If request type is pause request, then also so we will increase the RTSP sequence number and keep track of last sent request. Basically, this is a format of request which we are sending from client to server. Here you can see that format here in terminal, 3-line format. Here we are sending from client to server. If request type is tear down, then also we will increase RTSP sequence number and keep track of last sent request as tear down, and this is request format. Now we will send that request using RTSP socket from client side to server side using this send function. So we are encoding data here, and we will print that request here that we are getting here data sent as this request. If clients press the play movie button, then we will create a new thread for getting in data from server to client using RTP socket, and we will start that thread here, and also we will send RTSP request to the server. The type of that RTSP request is play request, and also in to get data from server to client using RTP protocol, we will make listen RTP function as a target function for this thread. In listen RTP function, basically we are receiving continuously receiving data from RTP socket, and we will create a RTP packet and decode the data we have received from server side, and we will check that our current frame number is frame sequence number which we have received from server side, and we will check here that our current frame number is greater than frame number. This frame number is we have stored on client side to keep track. So we will check that frame number received from server side is greater than frame number stored on client side. Then only we will proceed, as or if frame number received from server side is less than frame number stored on server's frame number stored on client side, then we'll we'll got to know that we have to discard the late packet. So if current frame number is greater than frame number, then only we will update the frame using this update movie function. The pause button, then we will just send that ASP request as pause request. In this receive RTSP reply, we are receiving reply to RTSP request that we have sent from client to server. In this, after receiving that RTSP reply, we will process that reply using parse RTSP reply function. We will also decode that reply. After that, we will process that reply, and we will also check that if we have sent tear down request to the server, then we will close that RTSP socket here. In parse RTSP reply, we are extracting sequence number of RTSP request. I will this format here. This is format that we will receive on client side, and we will extract this sequence number using split method and array indexing. If sequence number that we are receiving from server side is same as the we have sent to the server, then first of all we will store session id in this session id variable. If we will if session id is 0, then only we will store the session id. If session id is same on both sides server and client, then we will change the state according to the current state and request. In this, just we are changing the state according to request and current state, And here you can see that if request type is setup request, then we will also create a RTP port to receive data from server. In open RTP port function, we are just creating a RTP socket at client side, and we will bind that socket to RTP port which we have given as a system argument. And in listen RTP function, we are getting data from RTP socket, and we will decode that data using RTP packet class function decode, and we will update our GUI frame using this write frame and update movie function that I have explained earlier. If client press exit client function, exit tear down, or you can say exit button, then we'll send client will send RTSP request from client to server using this send RTSP request function. After that, we will destroy that GUI box using this master.destroy, and we will also delete temporary files which we have created to display video stream. Now I will show you the demo how this video streaming happens. So first of all, I will run server on port 1025. Our server is started on port 1025, and after that we will start client side, and in terminal we will give different parameters like this is server address, server port, and this is RTP port and file name. So this GUI box will pop up, and if we press setup button, then setup request will be sent from client side to server side. Here you can see, and on server side we have received that request. You can see this. If we send play request, then server will receive RTSP play request, and you can see that on client side we are receiving different sequence number from server. If I press pause button, then client will send pause RTSP request, and our we are stop receiving this data, so that we are not printing any sequence number here. I will press play button, then we will get current sequence number. If I press pause button, then this will stop, and okay, I will send tear down request from client. You can see this we have sent a tear down request, which is received on server side also. So okay, that's it all about, and thank you for watching this video.